All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. And as promised, I have Trish and Amber, the women of First Class Realty here in Houston. So, guys, thanks so much for being here today. Appreciate y'all.
I'm happy to be here.
All right. So, Trish, let's start with you. How long have you got? Well, tell us a little bit about First Class Realty. Like, why'd you start it? How'd you start it? And then if you want to tell us how many properties you manage, maybe the structure, a little bit like of that nature.
Yeah, Rob and I started First Class Realty a little over 20 years ago. I've actually been in the property management business for over 30 years. I started when I was 12. Jeez. But when I met him, he had a different business, and I was struggling to get mine going, and he just joined forces with me, and that's when we created First Class Realty.
And First Class Realty operates in Houston, Texas now?
Correct.
And how many, you guys will only do single family?
Yeah, we have a few small like duplexes and fourplexes, but it's mostly single family. And right now we're at about 500 doors.
Okay. All right. And so when you were building the business with Rob, we know, unfortunately, if you guys do not know Rob Ferrier, he's actually one of my mentors, and he was a great friend of mine here in Houston, suddenly passed away. Is it 4 years now, Trish?
Actually, 6 years. He passed away 2 days before Hurricane Harvey flooded our city. Exactly 2 days before it flooded our city.
I do remember that. Yeah. So 6 years is gone. Mm-hmm. So when you guys were building the business, you had 3 kids. Mm-hmm. Were you guys anticipating that the kids would one day come into the business? And if so, how were you preparing them and the business for it?
Well, I honestly can tell you that was our dream, but we both agreed that we were not going to force it. It would be their choice. And at the time, we have 3 kids, and the only one that always said she wanted to be a part of it was Amber. She said that from the time she was 4. But then we were really surprised when our oldest daughter was in college, and she decided she wanted to join our business. And Amber just went right into it smoothly after she graduated high school. But we basically let it be their choice. And because we know that so many second and third generation businesses don't succeed, because and we studied the factors and why they don't succeed, and most of the time it's things like, they don't know the struggle that happens in the beginning, when you don't know if you can make ends meet, and you're doing every single job, and you can't reproduce that part. But we were very adamant that the kids would have to start at the bottom and work their way up, so that they could at least experience having to do every part of the business.
Even the college degree.
Absolutely. She did. She was filing. We didn't have to make her answer phones. Ashley's very shy. Amber, she's still on the phones because she could talk to a wrong number.
There's a reason Amber's on this call and not Ashley, right?
That's right. Ashley says, I'll pass. But no, we made them both start at the bottom. And in fact, Rob actually made her finish her degree. She was, I think she was like a year and a half from graduating. And he said, you have a job here, but you must finish what you started. That's a very important lesson. And she did. She finished.
So if you have a small business, like you have 500 units, which is, pretty decent size. Mm-hmm. But if you only have like 100 units, is it even possible? Like, do you have the work and the revenue to bring in your kids? Like, you have to like grow the business, right? So that you can prepare for more revenue for the kids to be able to get paid. Yeah.
I think so. I know that in that situation, if you were still growing, you could probably have them on a where they're getting a piece of the profits until it gets to a point where you can give them a salary. But I know it would be difficult, I would think, because right now I have a staff of 7 actually. But I can't imagine when we were 100 doors if I would have been able to bring them in and put them on a salary as well. I mean, good grief, Rob and I were not always getting salaries back then.
I know the feeling. I'm waiting for BPM to pay me a salary. So Amber, let's talk about you. So you took a different path than your sister. Your sister wasn't sure she wanted to join. You wanted to join right away. Why do you think most kids don't want to join their parents' business? And why did you want to join? Like, what did you see either in the business or in the industry that just attracted you?
Well, although I did want to start as young as 4, mainly because of the phones, I really enjoyed talking to people and I love the phones. And I always went with my mom to inspect homes, and she took all these pictures, which I love taking pictures too. So I thought this is great. But actually, when I was a freshman in high school, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer because I was so good at debate. And I thought, okay, this is great. And then my father, was very honest with me. He said 6 years of college. And I said, no, it's okay. I'll just go back to real estate because I was not the best at school at all. But I really was also attracted to the that you actually need to network to do well in this business. And although I don't feel like I provide like a lot of number knowledge, I'm not really the best at math, but I'm very good at talking to people. And so when my mom said that that was actually something that this company could really use, especially after losing my dad, I thought there's just it's a no-brainer. I'm meant to talk to people, and I love the real estate industry, property management. So it was a no deal once I graduated high school to just go straight in.
And so what is your role today at the company?
Currently, I'm the maintenance manager. So I do communicate between the owner and the vendor and the tenant and kind of mellowing out, customer problems, things like that. But I also have been dabbling into the marketing side of things. I recently got my license, so I'm very much in la la land trying to figure out the social media game and all the new AI technology and all that good stuff. So I'm kind of juggling both.
Now, Trish, when you own you own the management company, when the kids joined, did you give them ownership? Like how did the legal structure work on that
Not,
side of things?
not at first. Just like with them having to work their way up, they're also working into owning a piece of the company, because I do think it's important to not just give things over. You have to earn what you have. And so that's basically, we are a sub S corporation. And as they put their time in, then they get a little piece of the company until someday when they'll have the whole enchilada. But at this point, when I'm 90 and I decide to retire, then I will let them have everything.
So, so the way the sub S works, it's and I'm not an attorney here, but do they just get a smaller percentage, or do they get more shares? Is that the way it works?
Yeah, just some small shares, and we just started that too because I really wanted to make sure on the tax ramifications, but also to, for them to be really sure this is the direction that they want to go to. I'm very, very lucky that Amber and Ashley are opposites in personality. They're very different people, but it works out great because Amber loves to talk. She's so soothing in talking to people when they're they're irate. Ashley, on the other hand, is a very quiet person, but she's very detail oriented. She keeps up with numbers. She does bookkeeping and stuff like that. And they do complement each other. So I was very lucky in that area, because I know that always is not the case when siblings work together, but they work very well together, because when Amber doesn't want to keep up with the details, she hands that to Ashley. Ashley doesn't want to talk to people, she hands that over to Amber. So it works out really well.
And Amber, were you worried that you would not be able to work with your sister? Did you guys get along when you were growing up? And because typical teenage girls, they typically, hate each other. They hate their mom. They hate the world. They hate everybody, from what I understand, from what I can see from the outside in. When I have my friends with teenage girls, I don't have any. But
I was definitely worried about it because we bunk a lot, and that is normal when you work with family. Even my mom and I's personalities can be very similar in that we rub things off really easily, but even my mom and I will bunk heads. So it was only natural that it was going to happen between Ashley and I. But I will say over time, I guess learn how to like coexist if we're not wanting to talk to each other. I know when we're mad, when we're emailing, communicating instead of going to each other's office. So I know that, okay, I shouldn't go back there and make a joke. I should probably just stay in my seat and put a bubble in my mouth. So we'll email correspond then. But it was trickier in the beginning because I was very immature. But I think as you grow up and you realize like, okay, you're kind of an adult now, act like it, then unfortunately you learn how to just deal with staying out off of people's toes.
I will tell you, one, she has grown so much. It's amazing. But one thing that Rob and I even had to learn when we worked together was when we walked through the front door of the office, we're business partners, not husband and wife. And I mean, we could have a fight at the breakfast table, but no one would know it when we were working in the office because we would just put that aside. And that is the one lesson that I have had to train the girls, that you're not sisters in this office, you are coworkers, and I'm not mom, I'm your boss. And so having to take that emotion out no matter what's going on.
Easy to say, hard to do though. Yeah.
It's very hard. And that's why I'm saying this is a process, and she's gotten so good at it lately. I mean, she's really grown.
I still go back in her office and cry if I need to, but like, you can't do that with a regular boss. But I mean, if I'm upset with her because, you know, she hurt my feelings because of a business decision, you do have to just kind of be like, okay,
it's what's best for the business, right?
Right.
At Empire, what's best for the business, not what's best for Pete or what's best for Steve. It's what's best for the business. Yeah. And so now that's hard to do because, you know, obviously, you know, you guys see each other outside of work all the time. And of course, you know, business talk starts happening. Do you guys talk a lot of business in your social environments?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But that just comes with, you know, when your mom owns the company and you're just as passionate about it as your mom is. And for my sister and I, we're trying to understand all the ropes, everything that comes into it. And that does mean the after hour emails, the discussing what happened during the workday. And ultimately, like my sister and my mom are a little bit more higher up, so they have to talk about the financials, and sometimes you don't want the other people hearing about it. And so yeah, we do have a lot of out of office conversation, but I think that it's like sometimes it's not a healthy amount. My mom has a really bad email checking addiction, and she is constantly checking her emails. But
I forward them to you while you're sitting there. Take care of this.
Yeah, exactly. She'll be there and it's like 8 o'clock at night. She goes, "Did you see that email?" I'm like, "Actually, no, it's been 2 seconds. I haven't seen it. My bad."
So now, Trish, you have a third child that's not in the business. Let's just say he doesn't join the business. Would you still give him % ownership of the business, or is that just for the kids that, like, let's say when you are 90 and you retire, right? You're going to have assets that are going to divvy up. Are you going to eventually retire and give the full business out and not have a portion of that business to the kids? Like, how do you think that's going to work?
If he does not want to join, then I can't say that I'm going to do that, because I feel like the kids who are putting in the work are the ones that should get the business. Now, I do have investment properties, which I would certainly split among all my children, because they're owned separate from the business. But the business itself, I do feel like those who put in the elbow grease are the ones that should deserve that part of the business.
Now, how do you end up? Like, obviously, at some point in time, you'll be not the CEO of the business, and you'll be maybe just a kind of a figurehead, so to speak, right? And letting the kids run it. How do you determine if one of the girls can become CEO or hire from outside, or which one has that skill set? Like, have you guys talked about that at all, about future? I know that's kind of a ways down the road, but it goes fast, right?
It does go fast. And I'll be frank with you, we've only had very small conversations about it. I think that Amber would understand that Ashley should handle the money part, because she's very good. But there's parts that Amber is far better at handling as well. But I do think that what I do right now is I'm trying to let them make decisions where, I mean, I'm still making the final decision, but I want to know, how would you handle this, in hopes that they're learning how to think for themselves to make the best choice. So we haven't though made any kind of firm thing of how the company will run in the future, but I do believe the more they grow together, the more they'll be able to do it without any problem. Now, if Robbie gets stuck in there, that might be another issue, but the
Prodigal
girls may
son
gang up on
return,
him.
he becomes the savior and CEO. I heard that.
He's got a lot of growing up to do for that.
All right. So Amber, if somebody's listening to this and they're second generation and they're, I think one of the challenges could be that the second generation is not patient and they want to like run the business right away. So what would you tell, like if somebody's listening to this in their second generation, like how long should they be patient? And then what are the steps that they should take so that they can position themselves to run the business?
Well, patient is nowhere near my middle name at all. So I can tell you that I'm definitely a part of the like not having a long enough fuse. I'm very much like, I just want to get after it. But I will say that aligning yourself with like, I hate admitting it, but sometimes your family is right when they try to advise you that, you can't just like fall in the ditch right away. Sometimes you have to trust that you don't need to use the ditch as an example, like just trust me. And so I think it goes with just trusting your family's decisions sometimes or advice. Like my sister, she's been working here full time, like what, 6-7 years full time. And she's been licensed. Yeah. So she's been doing this for a long time and she's not even, anywhere ready to run the company 100%. And I'm half that time, if not even less. So I'm nowhere near it. But I just hope that anyone listening to this, that second generation, is that you just become really realistic with what your decisions entail. And if you think you're so ballsy and you're ready to go, then like, I hope that your family loves you enough to come up behind you and pick up that failure for you. Not failure. That was the wrong word to use. That was really aggressive.
Maybe
pick up any,
yeah.
Pick it back up because you're not going to be ready to go in after 2 years of being in the industry, basically.
So Trish, if let's say Ashley's been there 6-7 years, let's say she says, "Hey, Ma, this is great, but I kind of want out. I'm going to go become a CPA, I'm going to go run with a big 6 firm or something."
Lord, I'm about to change my wheel now.
I was about to say, I better be in that wheel only.
You know what? If she really said that, I would do my best to support her in whatever she wants to do. And that would be the truth with Amber. It would kill my soul, break my heart. I love working with the girls. I really, really do love working with them. But I will, I want my kids to be happy with what they're doing. I want them to be fulfilling their dreams.
Yeah, let's be honest, right? Running a business is not easy, right?
No,
it's easier over time because you get better, right? It does get easier. And then running property management, I mean, it is soul crushing, right? I mean, how many people get chewed up and spit out in property management? So it's not for everybody.
No.
So what I'm hearing is you have to have lots of conversation about where you are and where you want to go and how you get there. Is that kind of?
It's very true. And not just that, what Amber was talking about earlier, the patience, wisdom takes time, and that's very valuable to have. But I will tell you, even one of those things I struggled with when the girls started was got thicker skin. I'm used to tenants and owners yelling at me. The minute they did it with one of the girls, I was, you try to be not mom, but your mama bear instinct goes in. And I will tell you that we had a very funny time when Amber was getting chewed to pieces by this tenant, and I'm trying to grab that phone out of her hand because I'm ready to let them know all about.
It was during the freeze, I think. It was during the freeze. Like this,
and she said, "Let me handle it, Mom." And that was the hardest thing for me to do, was to back off and just let her deal with them, because your instincts are to protect them. And this is a hard business. You deal with difficult people, and you just have to let them do it. You have to let them learn.
Yeah. So if Trish, if somebody's listening to this and they're want to get their kids in the business, what is some advice that you would give them?
I would tell them, I will tell you this, I would tell them to take that DISC test, because that is how I knew that Ashley would be more a numbers person. And of course, I always knew Amber was very social and so forth, but I would tell them they need to know their child's weaknesses and strengths, and then put them in that area. But I would have them start at the bottom. If you have other employees, you really can cause some animosity if you put your child too high, and other people have been loyal to you and so forth. So I would say make them start at the bottom, let them learn, act like it's an education, where they get to move up, but also know what their strengths and weaknesses are. Don't try to put them. If I tried to put Ashley on the front phones, that would have been a disaster. So
maybe put them there for a week to train or to learn, but not
to learn, to listen or something,
Yeah. Okay. So have you had any like, you brought the girls in, but you brought them on the bottom, but have you had any issues with team or challenges with team when you brought the girls in? Like, oh, they're going to steal my job, or they're going to get hired above me. I'm not going to have any growth here. Anything like that?
Yeah, I have. Not with the people that I have now. I think the people I have now know I take care of my employees like they're my family, but I have had situations where someone didn't like the girls getting moved up, but the girls have always earned anything that they've been moved up to. But sometimes insecurities kick in, and some people can think differently. I do try very hard to be as fair as I can. I want to always be transparent and fair, but you can't please everybody.
Sure, but at the end of the day, the girls are going to hold CFO, CEO type roles because it is their company.
Absolutely.
In theory, my uncle, he owns a food distributor company in New York, and both my cousins now literally run the business, right? One's the CEO, one's the sales vice president. I mean, that's just the way family businesses work. But I do have to ask, has the girls ever underperformed? Did you have to like sit them straight? Because, and have you ever thought about firing them? Like, what happens if you have a kid that,
Go ahead, mother, you can be honest. It's okay.
Okay. I will be honest. It's because my girl she understands. Yes, I've had to reprimand them when they're not doing their job, or
spank them to get the wooden spoon out.
No, I don't.
You can't reach. What are you talking about? I'm so much bigger than her.
I sit down and discuss with them. I really do. And
which is more painful. I'd rather be slapped, honestly. I hate it.
That's very true, because I'm going to have a little come to Jesus meeting with her. And I have told her one time, I said, if you're working for someone else.
I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Oh my gosh. Amber, I've just been reflecting, and I just think that, it's the whole thing.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to. So tell me what happened. So they were so Amber was underperforming. Let's see. Ashley's a gold.
You can name drop. Yeah, no, definitely me.
I basically, we had a repetitive problem, and I'll just go ahead and let you know. Amber has sometimes doesn't hit that alarm. She hits a snooze a few too many times. Okay. And I said to her, if you were working somewhere else, you wouldn't have a job. You have got to get yourself to work on time. And she did. All I had to do is sit down and have that discussion with her. And, sometimes there's other things. Usually it's when emotions kick in and they don't understand why I'm making a decision. That's usually when we have issues where we have to talk about it. But we have learned that we may not be able to talk about it at the time the whole thing's going on. They may have to wait until lunchtime or after work, when I can sit and explain to them, why a decision was made. But we've come a long way where we all communicate better and talk.
And do you purposely have those conversations in the office, like in the conference room or in your office, versus like having it at the house or in a social setting? Because you want to make sure like office is office and social is social.
Not necessarily. It depends. If it's something where I'm having to correct something they're doing, I do it privately. I don't and I do that with all my employees. I don't reprimand in front of other people. I will discuss it, one-on-one. But if we have a group problem, like if we're not, as a group, not doing something, then we will go to the conference room and we'll discuss it as a group. But it depends on the subject matter and the situation, whether I'm going to go private or whether it's going to be out in the open.
And Amber, how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I just turned 22.
You just had a birthday, right? 22. And so you've been working with your mom for the last 2 years, or is it longer now?
Since I was 18, right after high school.
After high school, and
So, well,
that's when your dad passed.
my dad passed away when I was 16. So he passed away just when I was about to go into sophomore year of high school.
Did that have any impact on you wanting to join the business and help your mom grow the business?
Absolutely. I feel like I, even to this day, when I go to NARPM, especially like the national conventions where you get to see like your friends in Austin and San Antonio, which I know my dad has a lot of dear friends out there. They'll tell me all the time that like when I enter a room and how I speak, that like my dad has to be so proud. And it's because I literally watched him take leadership, take a role. I knew that was my personality as well. I did not do well being told what to do. And I was always like that. You can ask my mom. And yeah, I didn't like it, but I liked that he just kind of took control over everything and he just kind of went after it. And even if he didn't know a lot about it, he just faked it. Half the time you saw him, he probably didn't know what he was actually talking about. And I thrive off of that. I don't know what I'm talking about actually right now. And I'm just kind of making it up. And it sounds great because I know how to talk. So absolutely, he's been a huge role model in what I wanted to do here, and he still is. And my mom and I talk about it all the time about how, like she said, I have to still work my way to the top. I'm not doing anywhere near what my dad was doing, but eventually she's going to allow me to do more and more, and hopefully help run First Class like my dad did.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to learn, and then there's a lot of education, which you're doing a great job of. You take advantage of all the NARPM education. You're learning about personality profiling, and keep reading the books and track. I know you guys. Do you guys do EOS in at First Class? Do you guys use Traction, the EOS system?
Mhm.
You do, yeah. So yeah, I know Rob was he was a man of action. He got stuff done. My
He
one
has the same
thing.
patience level as Amber has for sure. In fact, Amber was sharing a memory of it was when you were president of NARPM Houston chapter, and I remember her even asking me this: why does Dad laugh so hard when he's talking to Pete on the phone, and he always says, "Pete, what did you do?" and then laughed. Yeah. And I said, "Yeah, they had regular conversations during that time."
Oh man, we had some good times. We sure did. He's a man, just a man that I admired so much and helped me out so much. Like I used to call him all the time. Him and Mike Mengden. Mike, shout out to you if you
Yes.
if you're one of the 4 people that download our podcast. So it's to Mike. All right. Is there any other nuggets that you would give anybody who's listening that's talking, thinking about second generation, or any other nuggets before we go to break that either one of you could think through? We talked a lot about a lot of stuff here. So it seems like it's mainly, are you ready? Don't force your kid into it. Make sure that they perform, start them at the bottom and have lots of conversation, try to break out business versus personal.
So one thing I would add that I did was that I would advise people to not let your ego take control of the decisions you make or how you treat people. There were times where I was extremely hostile towards my mom when she wouldn't let me do something because I just knew I could do it because I watched it since dinosaur years. I've been watching my parents do it forever now, but I would get a big ego about it and then I fail. So I just talked all this talk and then I couldn't do it. So I would just advise anyone who's going to join the family company, regardless of what it is, to let yourself be trained. You don't know everything. You're not going to know everything in 2 years either.
Give yourself some time.
You don't have to. Exactly. You don't have to either. You do not have to know everything. You do not have to just jump from 0 to 100. Yeah, my mom doesn't know everything. So I would not let your ego destroy what your potential is.
I would say there's a lot more positives on taking over second generation business than negatives, right? The negatives are you have to be very patient. Sometimes you have what do they call it? A powdered butt syndrome, where your parents won't give you the big deal because they raised you, right? So you have to kind of get over that. But the positive is you take over a company that's been in business, First Class been in business, what now, 20 years?
Yeah, about 22 years now.
20. So you're getting name brand recognition, you're getting processes already, you have team, you have mentors that are bringing you, right? So Trish, you're probably going to take this to 600, 700, 800 doors, right? And that's probably your vision. Amber, you might take this across the state of Texas. Because you have such a beginner. You saw, like, when I started Empire, 0 doors. Trish, when you started First Class, would you have 0 doors?
Absolutely.
It takes a long time to mature that company. I know it took me over 7 years just to start getting where we were like getting our marketing and our sales and our processes all in order, and learning how to hire the right team. You're going to get all of that and then some. And then when Trish, when you decide to step down or take a lesser role, you still have that confidant and that person to mentor you. So I think there's lots of positives, but there are some negatives that if you're not patient and you have a big ego, you can abruptly leave the business, unfortunately.
Also, another negative is if you don't join NARPM, then you don't have the extended family, because I can tell you right now that especially after losing my dad, there were tons of people who my mom could call that were there for her. You were there for her. Mike was there for her, Paula, Elias, like all of our local members, but even like Austin members, San Antonio members, like all came together to help. And so I think that another positive is, especially with the property management industry, is joining NARPM and joining it on whatever level you're comfortable with. Because now I know that whoever's going to join NARPM from now until I'm done with this, I now have those contacts. I now have those friendships, and I watched my mom do it. Don't be scared to ask for help. Gosh. And so, yeah, it sucks if you're not in NARPM.
Did you know, I heard a stat. I don't know how true it is. They said the stat is that the average property manager is 52 years old.
Oh,
yeah, that's the stat I heard. And if you ever go to a NARPM broker owner, you would think that that's young. I'm just kidding. All right. We're going to be right back, everybody. We'll be right back for the lightning round. We're going to have a double lightning rounder. It's going to be awesome. Epic. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Are you guys ready for the lightning round? Did you like my sound effects? That's the lightning. All right. All right, we're gonna put you, Amber. We're gonna put you on the clock. You ready?
Why do I have to go first?
Because you're the one who says you're outgoing, right? You're the one who's outgoing. Okay. So,
let's do it.
What PM software do you use?
Rent Manager. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I should have started with Trish. Maybe this was a bad. Just kidding.
Well, we use other software too, but our main one is Rent Manager. She's probably thinking about
Rent Manager and Property Meld. Rent Manager and Property Meld.
Nice. What is your current organizational structure? Trish, I'll let you answer this one, I guess.
Yeah.
Departmental.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Do you use virtual assistants?
Yes.
Right. Do you have BDMs or salespeople? Dedicated.
Not right now. No, I'm the BDM.
Right. That was one piece that Rob did really well, wasn't it?
He did. He was amazing.
All right. Trish, what is one piece of advice you'd give someone just starting out in the PM business?
Screen your owners as well as you screen tenants. And that's the hardest lesson that I still struggle with sometimes. But a bad owner will suck the life out of you. So screen your owners as well as you do your tenants.
Amber, same question. What is one piece of advice you'd give someone just starting out in the PM business? Since you're just business.
I guess what I said before break, just don't get a big ego in it and learn absolutely everything you can.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Absolutely not.
You guys. Trish, what was your first job?
I worked at Wendy's.
Did you really?
I did.
Back when Jesus was born.
Oh, damn.
Amber, what is your ideal vacation?
I don't know. I'm not a big vacation person, so I guess just anywhere.
Trish, which
that's not your local.
I like anything on a beach. I used to do a lot of cruising. I haven't done that in a long time, but I love I love the beach. Like Cayman Islands is one of my favorite places to go.
Amber, what is something most people don't know about you?
Gosh. May come as a shock, but I'm not really scared of the camera.
Say that again.
I'm not really scared of the camera.
He said something that people wouldn't know about you.
Yeah, something that people don't know about you.
I know.
Ham.
I am scared of the dark.
That's true.
All right. Trish, what book are you currently reading, or what is one that has impacted your business or life?
I just finished the 5 dysfunctional
Of a team?
teams. Yeah, I
Patrick
loved it. I
Lencioni?
thought it was really good. I wouldn't say that's the most influential. Believe it or not, when Rob and I were courting way back in the boonies, his most influential book was how to, what is it? Oh God, Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
tried to read it back then and I was like, this is the most boring book. I did not get it. And then a few years ago, I found his book and I reread it and the light bulb went off and I went, oh my gosh, I get it now. It's about controlling how you think, not, what I took it as when I read it the first time. So I think I understand now what an amazing book that is, but I have to tell you, I had to read it twice.
I think I need to reread that one. It's been a minute since I read that one.
It's been a minute.
Amber, what Disney character do you most associate with?
Goodness, I don't know. Probably whoever didn't listen. I don't know.
Well, I would say Mulan.
Mulan, probably the red hair girl that went against her family. What was that one? Brave, the princess in Brave.
Yeah.
Meredith. Oh, thank you. Gosh.
I'm like, you're like 2 years away from Disney. Like you just graduated from Disney. I thought you would know all of the characters by now. Trish,
I was wondering why you didn't ask me about a book. I was like, I read sometimes.
I don't want to hear about a comic book. Trish, what is your one challenge? Trish, what is one challenge you're facing in your business?
Oh gosh, I'll confess, it's training. I'm lousy at training and I need to learn how to train better.
All right. Amber, do you prefer dogs or cats?
I have both. I can't favorite a child.
Trish, I know your answer. What is it? Dogs or cats?
Dogs. I
Yeah.
got my 3 little shepherds. I'm a dog person.
All right. Well, guys, appreciate the time here. If somebody wanted, downloads this and they want to talk to you guys about, hey, how do I get my kids involved, or how do I do this? How can they reach you guys? Trish, how can they reach you?
They can call us at 281-807-4700, or they can go to firstclassmgt.com and email us. But yeah, we're available to help any way we can for any NARPM members.
Yeah, I know you guys give back to NARPM all the time, and we appreciate you in the Houston chapter for sure. And of course, you guys do stuff nationally as well. If you want to join NARPM, if you are downloading this and you're not a NARPM member and you're on the fence, please go to NARPM, NARPM.org, or call them at 800-782-3452. And if you want to grow up and be like Trish one day and have virtual assistants, please give us a try at vpmsolutions.com. We have over 25,000 profiles built on the site now, and I think we just added some more training as of this recording, and we're going to have KPI training coming out this week, and we're recording this in July. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you.